Okay, welcome back. So, between now and where we left off in the previous tutorial, I've been doing a little bit of thinking about what else I want to incorporate into my map. I did say I was going to do something, some kind of stair cliff facey thing, but thinking about it, to be honest, I'm not sure if it would work. Um, as I'm really thinking it would. Um, what I plan to do here is add some raised section or something or other, and I think I'll be done with that. Done with the modeling portion. I can just reattach these structures back, and I'll be done with that. um, so yeah, before I do that though, I'm gonna go ahead and import a reference model. And that's going to be the Warthog um, used in Halo, so I'm already banking on that you know how to do that because it's pretty simple. But you just want to go to Max Script, Run Script. You want to make sure that you have the Gearbox Model Importer version 2.0 installed. You don't really have to install it, just make sure that it's somewhere that you can browse for it. Load your GBX model, and you just want to navigate to your tags directory. Alright, and I'm just going to go into vehicles and Warthog, grab the Warthog gearbox model. And I don't want any markers on nodes, I just want the model geometry. Okay, it's done. I'm going to hit H on my keyboard just so I can see a full list of everything I have in my scene. So, hull, barrels, and tire. I'm guessing that's the Warthog. So I'm going to select them both, all three of them, sorry. And then I'm going to hit Alt key to isolate them, and just going to hit F4, select the hull, and attach. Attach the tires and the barrels so they're all one object, and I'm not messing around frequently. With my Warthog selected, I'm going to uncheck isolation, and then I'm going to hit Z to zoom in on that Warthog, and then I'm just going to move it out. I'm really just using this as a size comparison more than anything else. And it actually seems that my map is pretty big already. I thought I'd have to scale it up a little bit, but just use the snaps to snap it down to a vert or something. But it seems like everything here is pretty much usable. So I'm happy with that. That's awesome. Yeah, okay, so just rename that model reference. I might need to refer to it later. Now I'll just move it out here, and we'll give it a nice red wireframe color. Okay, so let's incorporate one more feature. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it, but we'll give it a shot. So we'll start here. Select those two polygons. I'm not exactly sure how wide I want it to be. I'm just feeling out with what I have to work with at the moment, and if I need any additional geometry, I'll probably just go ahead and cut it in like you've seen me do before. And I actually don't want to do that because there's not enough space then between here and there. I'm just randomly selecting polygons and seeing how they will work out in my selection, and that doesn't look so bad actually. Might be able to use that. So I'm just going to extrude this. This is pretty much the same workflow as what we did over here and here. and there. Push that up. Scale it in, give it a little bit of a bevel. We'll scale it in on the Y as well. And we'll have to do a little bit of isolation. Before we do that, I'm getting a little bit sick of you know, the camera clipping with the walls because everything is so tight. So I'm just going to enter my front view by hitting F. I'm going to hit Alt W, and I'm going to attempt to hide some of this geometry by just selecting, dragging a big selection box over what I have, hitting P, and just doing a little bit of manual selection here and there, just so I'm not, forever trying to work my camera around all of these objects. I can just hide them and then bring them back whenever I need to. And that'll be okay. So I'm just going to go to Visibility, Hide Selected. And just make sure that you don't edit anything around that perimeter that you've hidden. Alright, so same thing as before. Bring up soft selection. We'll have to mess around with the fall off value. Yep, that's fine. And we're just going to bring some pieces down, bring some pieces up, bring some pieces up. Again, I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to make this a usable piece or an aesthetic piece. A usable piece would be something that you can interact with it in some way or form. So, for example, you could drive inside of it or something like that. I don't really see the point of going over it, being able to use the roof of this, since we can already do that over here. There would be no real point in doing that. There isn't really an actual point in doing that here as well, otherwise what's the point of this? So let's just hit Control Z, go back. Now that I've realized that, sorry about that guys, but this is another part of map making or level design which you'll have to think about. Are my features plausible, or could they make or break the game? Is one other thing you'd have to be thinking about. It would seem that this portion of the map isn't particularly useful in any way, shape, or form, so let's go ahead and build what we were going to build here. I'm aware that we have some additional geometry over here, so I'm not going to step into that. I'll probably just stop around here. So I'll select a couple of polygons, and they will be my marker. Okay, lovely. So we'll extrude this. We'll bring it up by hitting W and pushing this up on the Z axis. We'll hit R to use the scale tool. Scale everything in a little bit, just give it a nice tapered bevel. Then we'll push everything in on the Y and a little bit on the X. But actually, no, we won't do that. We'll have to just flare out the bottom since this is at an angle. So do that now. I'm actually just going to reduce my. Oops. Looks like our materials have become a little weird for some reason. No, that's probably because we imported the Warthog reference model. So what I'm going to do is just make sure that I have my selection correct. I'm going to go to Material, pick from Object, select my level, and there we have our material back. I'll just assign that really quickly, and we'll just turn down the specular to around 54, just so we have a little bit of specular. That's easy to work with. That's good for us. So I'll incorporate soft selection again. Turn down the fall off value. Just push a few verts out. The reason why I'm using soft selection is so that I can help push the tension away from the vertices. If I wasn't doing that, if I was just moving one vert by one vert, that would, number one, be a lot more time consuming, and number two, the rest of the topology isn't really being affected, and that could be okay in some circumstances, but in this circumstance where we could easily be doing something like that, which would be incorrect, the soft selection just helps us avoid creeping up onto other forms of topology. You know, it generally just spaces everything out and gives us a nice clean area to work with and to use. So you've noticed that I've pushed these two vertices in, and that's because I'm a little bit tired of having to taper everything out. I want to incorporate a few cool design properties. So just like you have rocks with bottom edges which have been tapered out, you sometimes have them where they've been tapered in, either because they've eroded or they've just grown like that over time. I'm not really sure. I'm not a geologist. I'm just making this up as I go along, to be honest. It would be a good idea to go ahead and look up on Google any references or images you have of nature, something like the Grand Canyon or the Canadian Rockies, places like that, just so you can go ahead and incorporate any features which you see in those reference images into your map, or they can help spark design ideas, whatever. It's just good to have that kind of inspiration with you. Alright, so I'm going to make this a little bit taller, and then I'm going to manage the topology of the roof, like so. Soft selection helping us out here, adding a nice degree of variation. Lovely. Now all I have to do is add in a mesh smooth for that. So I'm just going to keep that roof selected and add in one iteration of the mesh smooth option and just see what that gives me. Alright, that's a little too smooth for my liking, so I'm going to deselect a few parts here. Mesh smooth it again. That's a little bit better. We're not using as much, but it's still a little bit crappy. So grab those two polygons, those two, and we'll do something there, something there, something there, something there, something there, something there. And let's smooth that down. Ooh, that looks a lot better. Still a little bit too high in resolution in some areas, but we'll tone that down now. So let's hit up our edge tool by hitting 2 on our keyboard and just double click some of these weird loops that we have here and just control backspace them out. Get rid of view, got one here. We'll see, that one was kind of useful. No, it's okay. Can get rid of that. Or perhaps we could leave it in. No, I think I'll leave that one in. That one was actually doing something rather than just holding the shape up, not conforming to any kind of interest. I have this really annoying habit of not finishing my sentences, so I'll just leave off on one word and then wait like 6 or 7 seconds later on and think about finishing that word or that sentence off. I do that a lot, forgive me for that, but yeah. Could target weld at vertex to there. Could do the same here. I'm not going to do this for all of them. Target weld at vertex up here. And up here as well. And then we could use this and just generally push that in and just see what that looks like. It's not so bad. I think I'll bring those vertices back. And we'll push those in now. Just slightly. And this rear face, I think I'll just get rid of all of these edges altogether, since it's a waste of having them. I did say that I'm going to think about making this portion usable in some way, but I think just as some form of cover, I don't think there really is a point of, creating some sort of tunnel inset, since we're not going to be, it's mainly going to be just an aesthetic piece more than anything now, is what I've decided. Because, I mean, we already have pieces like this which we can interact with and, stuff like that. So there isn't really much point in adding another interesting piece which we don't know, might not be used since we have all of that down there. So that's one other thing that you have to keep in mind. Are your features and your, there's designs which you've implemented into your map, will they all be used? Or will some be forgotten about because, you have others which do a better job? And if that's the case, then essentially those design features which aren't being used are essentially just wastage. If they're not being used, what's the point of them being there other than to look pretty? Unless that is their function. So weld that to here. Weld that to them. I'm doing a little bit more cleanup on this portion than I would normally, and that's because I've realized that the roof of this isn't going to be useful in any way, shape, or form, and the smoothing groups are going to help smooth out a lot of this, so that this extra topology just really isn't needed, and as a result it is wastage. And we're creeping up on 18,000 triangles now. I wanted to keep this under 15, and my maximum, I really do not want to be going over 20,000 triangles if I can help it. Just push that in as well. Okay, we're done now. And just sort that spot out, that spot, and that spot too, and fix what we have here. We could actually just collapse those together instead of target welding them. Okay, that's going to do it for this element which we have here. It's not exactly what I wanted, I'm going to be honest, but then again, it does help break up the monotony of having random structures in a map, and having just a really boring flat floor. So it does help break up, these two identical portions which look identical. What I'm going to do here, Instead of trying to incorporate some type of design feature into this, I'm going to take that idea and try and incorporate into this piece here. Before I do that, I've just noticed that there are a lot of these wasted vertices which aren't really holding up the shape in some way, as opposed to here where we don't have that many vertices. So I'm just going to do a little bit of optimization here. And what I'm mainly going to be doing is selecting a group of vertices which I think aren't performing the task that they should be, and just collapsing them. And I'm going to be doing the same here as well. And take out some extra stuff. Oops. Collapse that. We'll go ahead and toggle all that there and see what that looks like. That doesn't look so bad. Push that out slightly. Push that in. So here I don't really have anything going on, and it looks a little weird. So I'm going to help round this off slightly. That looks a little bit better. What I have here isn't particularly useful either. So I'll just target all of that down. Sorry, break those edges down. And I'm going to have to do a little bit of geometry hiding over here. Let's go ahead and make sure we get that whole piece. Right, this portion isn't so bad. That's fine where we are there. I'm going to help push this out. Push that in. Push that in. There we go. This part doesn't seem that bad to me. Oops, what's happened there? That's because we don't have anything defining that portion. That's better. So I'll roll that down to there, and we'll push that up to there, and I'll just backspace that X out, and I'll leave that as a four-sided polygon. Starting to wonder now, is this top level useful in any way? We're going to have to bring this out, push that out to there. There we go, that makes use of that geometry. Go ahead and collapse that. Collapse those. Bring that to there. Bring that to there. Yeah, it's okay. I'm happy with that. Let's go to visibility, hide and split. Unhide all, sorry. And now that I've done that, I don't really think that there's any use in making a feature into this, other than perhaps if we go and connect that up, we could delete this entire middle section here and have that serve as a divider, but I don't really want to do that over here, and this bit is much longer than what we have there, so that wouldn't really be fair to this side. We can do a little bit of optimizing here though, so I'll probably have to figure out another place to put some sort of feature which the vehicle users can play around with. So for now, I'm just going to be doing some optimization. I'm going to select this whole middle edge, or as much as I can, backspace it out. We'll leave that a bit, and I'll just get rid of that. And do the same roundabout here. Okay, and targeting that down to there, and that to there. Wonderful. Yep, okay, lovely. Okay. Now, I have a problem here. This part of the map is very bare, and so is this part of the map. Now, I'm just looking, I know that my map isn't going to be perfectly symmetrical, but I have a feature here, a feature here, and a feature here, so that's 3 features along here. And then I have 1 feature here, 2, 3, 4 features there. So should I put something like this there? But then if I do that, would that be crowding this area off? Because I have, 2 features already there, it wouldn't really make much sense to put another feature there. Unless I put a feature in front, but I haven't done that here. So then that would be giving unnecessary cover if this was, for example, a Slayer or a sniping game, whereas the players would have cover as soon as they come out, whereas these guys do not. A lot to think about. Alright, I'm going to stop this tutorial here, and I'll pick this up in the next part. Before I do, I've just remembered that I haven't saved this properly, so I'm just going to go to File, Save As, and save this as 08, since this is the 8th addition to my video guide, and I'll see you in number 9, hopefully.